Do you think the momentum that the Caps created in Game 5 carries over into Game 6
I would
tonight?
hope so. But what I worry about, and I don't know what happened before Game 3. I don't know if those boys got down to Raleigh, went out and partied with the NC State girls. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know what happened, but how do you get outshot 50-20?
Well, they had basically been outshot every game.
Yeah,
right?
but
that
that
series.
should never happen.
Yeah. I don't know. It just shows you there's no such thing as momentum because after they completely smoked us in Game 4, Game 5 was the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
The exact opposite of it. So you never know what you're going to get game to game. I guess you can more or less count on a home ice boost. The Caps certainly got that. How will they respond,
And
though,
I think
when
Carolina
that
will
Carolina
probably get it.
building is huge? It's been very, very loud for them in the first two games.
I mean, look
So,
how well they played in those two games.
I don't think there's going to be a blowout either way in this one. I think this is going to be one of those that goes down to the bitter end. It's going to be a dogfight. That would be my guess. We've done our blowout
I will say
bits.
this. Watching those games in Carolina, and Carolina dominated both those games.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the Caps handled them in 4 games in the regular season.
Right.
I was surprised that they had won 6 in a row, if you include games 1 and 2. 6 in a row against it. That team's good.
Yeah, and they were
That's a good team.
They were peaking at the exact wrong time for the Capitals, but right time for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they were surging toward the end of the season. You know, they made that playoff push, and this is the team that the Caps are facing, the peaking Hurricanes, not the Hurricanes that are kind of flailing at midseason. So hopefully they can close them out in 6, bring that physical play, and having Smith-Pelly on the ice, I mean, that really energized the crowd on Saturday night.
It did for one game, but losing Oshie, that's really going to hurt you.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think you're going to feel it in a game like this tonight.
So Reardon has to rejigger the lines. I mean, Hagelin's up on one of the top lines now. So, yeah, I mean, it's a huge loss. And kudos to the crowd for chanting his name late in the game. Like at first, I couldn't make out what the crowd was chanting, but then
were they just saying DSP?
No, I'm moving on to Oshie.
Oh,
Oshie. They were chanting Oshie's name.
Oh, gotcha.
Because Oshie went on social media before the game and said he wanted the crowd to be loud. And, he was at home being tended to by his wife and his kids, and he's in good hands with the training staff, but he wanted the crowd to get into it and to be super loud, and they were. I mean, the Caps fans at Game 5 did not disappoint.
Well, they always respond.
good.
The one thing you say about Caps fans, they're loyal and they're loud.
And the fact
always.
that it was a late puck drop, and it wasn't like this late arriving crowd for a 7 o'clock puck drop.
They were ready to rock.
I mean, you looked up into the rafters, and every seat was filled.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes for a 7 p.m. puck drop, because of traffic issues, people getting on the metro, leaving work, sometimes, a third of the arena might not be filled right at puck drop. It might fill up midway through the first period. Every seat was basically filled at around 8:10, and the game didn't start till 8:20.
And what's interesting
that crowd
is
was ready to go.
Thanks to Jim, so
Yeah.
you were down in that MGM club before the game, pregame a little bit. It's a beautiful spot.
It was awesome.
Unlike, I hate to say it, but unlike a Wizards game, you were in a rush to get back to your seat because it's so cool. It's just there's so much energy in the building. Whereas at a Wizards game, it's actually better in the MGM club than it is at your seats.
Yeah. I didn't want to miss any of the pregame presentation.
Yeah.
All of the graphics on the ice. I wanted to be there for the whole thing.
Right. You actually pass up free drinks and awesome food
don't
to
get me
be in
wrong.
your seats.
We were scurrying back and forth to the MGM lounge in between periods.
Right.
Because it's open throughout the game, which is a great thing.
Right.
But, yeah, you didn't want to miss anything that was happening out on the ice.
Playoff hockey is just crazy. We already talked about the fact that both 1 seeds are out.
Yep.
One of them got swept. Pittsburgh gets swept.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just you just don't know what to expect. So tonight concerns me as a Caps fan. I don't know how other people feel. It just concerns me based on the way they played those 2 games down in Raleigh.
I like Reardon's pretty quiet confidence that he's when he goes to the mic, he's taking their spirit physically. And when we do that, we know that we can dictate hopefully the way the rest of this series goes. Mm-hmm. He knows guys like Dougie Hamilton don't want to go into the corners with Ovi. That was readily apparent in Game 5.
Right.
I mean, Hamilton had 2 steps on Ovi to get to the puck, which is right up on the boards, and he said, you know what?
Any part of it.
I don't want any piece of this. And Ovi goes in and hustles and gets the puck to Connolly and the lead. Which at that point it was over. You could just tell.
Well, now
Carolina was not coming back in that game.
True, but they're going to have a different mentality because they're going to be at home.
Yep.
And they know it's do or die.
Right.
So I would expect them to fight.
All right, let's see if any Caps fans want to chime in. We got some activity last week. That on Friday there was some anxiety. My panic meter was at a 7.5. But how confident are you right now? Have you settled in? I think you should. You should expect, that things are sort of back on track. But how is the team going to respond now in Carolina tonight? Will there be any carryover? Unfortunately, there's often not carryover game to game. I think there's momentum certainly within a game, but when you get game to game, anything can happen. So 800-636-1067.
There was some carryover within the teams playing those two games at home.
Yes.
So there was carryover from 1 to 2, and then there was carryover from 3 to 4 for Carolina. But you certainly didn't see anything once they switched cities.
When you switch venues, and I even think game to game, sometimes you don't see it. But you're right. We've kind of seen that because the trend has been the home team has kind of just carried things.
And I hope they break that.
It'd be nice to break. I'm not interested in a round 1 game 7.
No.
Not interested in that.
Absolutely not.
Because that could go even if it's at home.
Let's get it done in 6.